Kevin, stop right now. The NBA playoffs, boy. Let's get into it. Let's get into it. All right, come on.
I gotta go.
Gotta go. But look, right now, only 2 series. Great series so far. Lakers, Nugs, Celtics. I forgot the other team. Heat. I'm sorry, Heat. Just like Raptors. That doesn't make sense. That's not true. That didn't happen. Let's get into it. Which one do you want to talk about first? Do you want to talk about the East or the West right now?
Oh, West all day. I don't
West
fuck
all
about
day. Yeah, I mean, let's be real. We're not even about the East. All right. I always try to make these really dumb like headlines for like the newspaper. The LA Gazette. Lakers look sluggish in Game 3, lost to the Nugs. Which is true. I'm pretty sure when we last recorded, it was 1-0 Lakers. I actually don't think they started their series yet. I could be wrong. But they did. Probably did. But let's talk about Anthony Davis game winner. Phenomenal shot. Mamba mentality shit. They did blow the lead. They choked a lot. What did you think about that game 2 first?
Again, I think it shouldn't have been that close. I think the Lakers had that in the bag originally, and I think they blew it. And luckily, Anthony Davis literally channeled the spirit of Kobe and got that insane kind of contested buzzer beater literally with like 1 second left. It was beautiful. But I think that game really showed they're looking tired. Like they really were off to a good start, and then they were really kind of start to slow down by the end of it. And I think we've seen that this entire playoffs is as soon as you start to slow down, Murray and Jokic are going to take advantage of that every single time. They don't slow down. I don't know what it is. They've been playing so many games, and they're still going, and they're going to take advantage of it every fucking time.
No, that's so true. As much as if a win it was for the Lakers, I think it's actually truly optimistic for the Nuggets, right?
Yeah.
Your lines. We saw the age in terms of like a LeBron. You know, LeBron's averaging only 34 minutes. This is the lowest in his career in the playoffs. Still a lot of minutes, but it really showed Anthony Davis. You know, I'm just saying you never played playoff basketball this long. You know, it does show. And the Nuggets just look fresh. Back-to-back game sevens. You know, like they played every other day for what 15 days at least. That's nuts. It's unbelievable how they're playing. They were supposed to win that game, to be honest. They came back down 16. A classic Nuggets technique. When you're down 16, come back, beat an LA team. You know, that's their mentality. But let's be real. Anthony Davis, he showed to the plate. And I think it's a greater feeling when you know your teammates, you know, are celebrating with you, especially with someone like LeBron, you know, running, chasing you down as well. It just must be a great feeling. As the resident Lakers fan of this podcast, how optimistic do you feel about this Lakers team still up 2-1 now?
I don't feel optimistic. That's the thing. This Nuggets team is impressive. They're a way better against this Lakers team than I thought. And I don't know. I can't point out necessarily like one really big reason why. I think, again, the tiredness definitely plays a factor. I think LeBron and AD are tired. But I think, I don't know. It just seems like the Nuggets are playing on all cylinders. Every single mistake that the Lakers are making, and the Lakers are making more than their fair share of mistakes. The Nuggets just capitalize on it, and they're doing everything right. So I'm scared as a Lakers fan. Like Lakers fan.
No, he said Lakers fan. He's sold. All right, he's on the train. All right. Yeah, I mean, we kind of saw it even in Game 3 how bad of a start the Lakers had, or rather, the Nuggets just popped up. They woke up and they're like, "Hey, we gotta get the dub now." You know, LeBron, AD looked really tired in those last 6 minutes of the game. Even the big men didn't play that much. I think it was like an average 12 minutes between McGee and Howard. I don't know what happened to Howard. Neither of them were in foul trouble, but maybe it was just a mismatch issue in terms of just how you play with Jokic. I think they figured it out in those last 6 minutes, though, playing that zone, because it was like a 16-2 run in like 2 minutes, and they closed down the lead right there. But we kind of saw, under 3 minutes, LeBron, AD, the Lakers team was taking very bad shots. They were wasting the shot clock to take like a deep three, which was like, that's not how you're going to win the game, right? That's just pure luck at that point. But the person I want to praise this series so far, it's Playoff Rondo. Okay, Playoff Rondo is probably one of my favorite players of all time, to be honest. I think Rajon Rondo was actually one of my favorite point guards. He does have a bit of an attitude issue. That's a whole different story in terms of game. The guy is a pickpocket master, all right? This is Sneak 100, Pickpocket 100 Skyrim fans. You know what's up at that point. But that's what this guy did, all right? And when the Lakers played the zone, my issue with Jokic is, why are you not posting up on the Caruso, the Rondo, the KCP? You got the size on them. Sure, they'll come and rotate, but let them do that so you can dish out to a corner three, You do have some slightly more reliable shooters, with Grant, MPJ, Craig. You got the guys. Just got to trust in them at this point. But Jamal Murray. Go ahead.
I was going to say, especially with like Jokic's and Murray's, as you were probably going to say, they're passing. Like, if you get mismatch on either of those guys, the other can just pass it to whichever one has the mismatch and easily either post up or make a shot over someone. Like, they have that weird, complete opposite play style that they can just work around so easily.
Exactly. And I think what's dangerous about this team is that when one sits, it's fine, because it's not even a bench thing, but both have great and different playmaking ability. We obviously have Jamal Murray as more of a pure scorer, whereas Jokic can actually be the decoy in a lot of situations. The guy can shoot anywhere, and his is really deceiving because he doesn't look fit, in my opinion. You assume that he's just going to be sluggish, go slow, and just drive into the paint, but the guy's got some Robert Horry shot where he shoots like over his head. I don't know how he makes those, but this Nuggets team has recorded I think it's over 15 bank shots from three so far this postseason. It's nuts. No one does that. You got to call bank, all right? Bank close otherwise. You can't call it other, all right?
You had to call bank every shot, the Nuggets would not be in the playoffs this far.
Nuggets would not be in the playoffs, but the point I mentioned was Jeremy Grant. Do we think Jeremy Grant was a one-time show at this point, or do you think that he has to be a part of this strategy for the Nuggets going forward?
I think if Jeremy Grant plays like he did last night, more, I'm not saying every time, but I think more just in general, I think the Nuggets can probably win this series. Because Jeremy Grant was playing everything. He was playing good transition defense. He was playing good transition offense. He was playing good defense under the basket. He was playing good offense. He was passing the ball around. He was doing everything. I was so impressed. Taking insane shots too. It just didn't make sense.
No, exactly. And that's the weakness behind this Nuggets roster, is how much can you rely on these new guys, young guys? As much as I like MPJ, how consistent can he be? I think they have the talent. They just need these guys to really pick it up, because eventually, if Jamal Murray or Jokic has a bad game, it will definitely show that the bench is not carrying or picking up the slack at that point. Looking at this now, Lakers 2-1 lead. What is your predictions now? Anything change?
I think it's the same kind of Game 7, but Lakers take it. I think. I don't know, but I'm skeptical. I think it could go either way in Game 7, honestly.
No, that's a fair point. Look, the Nuggets have been in a 2-1 series already. If they go 3-1, they're bound to win Game 7. All right, it's destiny. The first team to go 5 straight Game 7s be nuts. All right, that'd be nuts. I'm changing my thoughts. Nuggets in 7. We gotta do what can happen. All right, Nug life. That's how we do it over here. All right. Let's talk about the other boring series. I'm just kidding. The Eastern Conference. Realistically, I think an interesting matchup just because they're just two different types of teams. Boston Celtics, they come back after their shouting match. Um, after game two, Jaylen Brown, Marcus Smart got heated. Kemba Walker comes out and he's like, "Oh yeah, it was nothing. It was just like a normal conversation." But when you're getting like 5, 10 reports saying like there's a lot of yelling going on, you think it's gonna be turmoil. Complete opposite. I think that's what they needed. They needed a wake up call to really get them jump started again. And with the return of Gordon Hayward for that game in Game 3, that's what they needed, right? That's what the guy they needed. Gordon Hayward. I think we were talking about this as well. Gordon Hayward, Kevin Love. I think they're similar players. They're not superstar talent anymore, or were talent anymore, but definitely all-star six-man presence. Maybe six-man presence. I know in this Boston roster, it's kind of stacked for them. It's kind of hard. How do you fit another small forward on this roster? They've done it before, but is it really helpful? Along those lines, as a six-man, do you think Gordon Hayward is actually more of a solid six-man or, more of a starter?
I think it's weird. I think he's a good six-man somehow, even though he doesn't get a lot of stats. Like he's not, he doesn't put up a lot of points. He didn't put up a lot of rebounds, but I feel like you could see when he was on the floor, the Nuggets were just playing more cohesively together. And I think that's really important. It's weird, though. Like, I normally hype people up if they, especially six men like Lou Will or Montrezl Harrell or something like that. Like, they get a lot of points, get a lot of rebounds, do a lot of statistically good things. But I think Hayward isn't that. I think he is, like you said, like kind of like a Kevin Love of just maybe he's not your main guy that you're going to depend on scoring all the time, but he's a good presence to have on the court and has a really good basketball IQ, so can help whoever is out on the court with everything that's going on. And I think that's important to have, especially in a six-man.
For sure. And I kind of find Gordon Hayward kind of reminds me of a Manu Ginobili in terms of a leadership role. Manu accepted a bench role for most of his career. Easily could have been a starter for us. But what the Spurs did was you need that veteran presence with the younger bench or the inexperienced bench, especially when you do the roster swap, probably entering the end of the first quarter. Like you mentioned, in those 30 minutes, 6 points, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, may not be noticeable, but the way he plays, I mean, you saw some of those full court passes. Like I said, it's a Kevin Love specialty, full court pass. That's what he's doing here.
Yeah.
Gordon Hayward, genuinely surprising, just for a guy that came back from injury and just missing at least a month of basketball from injury, and just with having a kid as well, to get refocused. And honestly, I felt like nothing changed. Yes, he didn't score as much, but in terms of like playability, like, I feel like he never got injured, to be honest.
Yeah, it seems like it.
And I think you mentioned this outside into the chat, but who has the worst bench? And does it even matter? All right, the Heat. You got Iggy, who's been pretty lackluster. Your boy Kelly Olynyk, very ugly. Shade the goatee, my friend. Derek Jones Jr. I mean, dunk contest champ. Aaron Gordon still salty about it. That's his problem at that point. Kendrick Nunn, disappointing because I think there is a mismatch issue. Just in terms of his size and, playing against, like Jaylen Brown, Kemba. There's definitely a speed issue and a size issue. Jason Tatum sometimes guarding him too. And then we got the other side. Gordon Hayward, obviously, Enes Kanter, Brad Wanamaker, and either Williams, Grant Williams, or Robert Williams III. Who do you got bench-wise in this?
I think the better bench is Celtics, but not by a lot. I think they're both garbage benches. But I honestly, I don't know if it matters, at least in this matchup. I think if they were going against a team with a deeper bench, then you'd see a bigger point differential when the bench is out versus when the starters are. But I think when it's the Heat versus Celtics and both benches are out for the most part, you're not going to see much of a point differential because they're both bad. Like,
Exactly. No, for sure. I think it goes on the lines like these starting lines are so stacked that these benches might be actually detrimental. I know we keep saying we got to be deep, and the only deep bench realistically is the Denver Nuggets, right? In terms of like playability, talent. Um, these teams really rely on their guys to play guaranteed like 40 plus minutes, like 41 minutes a game for them to be actually winning these games, which will be very interesting in terms of how tired they are or, possible injuries. We don't hope for that, but, when you're playing these kind of minutes, it's a double-edged sword. You either play these a lot of minutes, but you do risk getting tired and injury. It's a Derrick Rose syndrome, all right? We got to be real. When you're up by 20, I don't want your superstar playing. I'm just being honest, Tom Thibodeau. That kind of costs Chicago the whole life at that point. With that being said, who do you have winning this series now? With Miami up 2-1.
I'm going to say Heat, but I think 6 games.
Miami 6. Okay.
I think so.
Gotcha. Now, that's a tough point. Already halfway through the second, 36-35 Miami Heat. Surprisingly evenly matched. And I'm not really sure how to even compare that because they're just different. They're just different teams. And this is not the bash on the Celtics. It's like I either want Celtics Lakers or I want the OGs to play or I want Nugs Miami. I got ties in Miami and I got ties in in Denver now. So it'll be a rivalry in the making. I think it'll be either way. I think the teams that make it will be well deserved, easily well deserved, just in terms of like what they have to deal with. But I think I'm going to say the same with you. I got Miami in 6 as well. This Miami team it's a different beast. I don't know how to even talk about them or approach them, but they just have pieces that somehow work together that probably shouldn't work, but it just does. It makes everything work somehow.
I gotta say, I am so impressed with this Final Four in the playoffs. Like, this is what I wanted so badly. I think every team is fun to watch for their own reason.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that each one is so unique is awesome. I think we are really lucky to have this crazy, cool playoffs.
No, exactly. I'm hoping for some quality games still moving forward. They always prove me wrong. We're getting the best quality basketball ever. With that, that's all I got. Homie, close us out here.
Oh, man.
No pressure.
Follow us at the Deep 3 Pod on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I don't know if we have Twitter. Actually, I don't go on it. Email us at the deep3pod@gmail.com. Listen to us on Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Email us with any questions, comments, concerns. Concerns. I hope you don't have concerns. And if you keep them to yourself.
Hey, I just like to apologize to the fans real quick for my mochaccino comments. Sorry, not sorry. I'm the little brown emoji, all right? Sucks.
Yeah, it would have been way worse if Matt or I had said it. So.
Yeah, so it's fine. I got this race card, right? That's how it works. I can just say whatever I want. That's how it works.
I'm gonna go.
Just gonna, hey, you're gonna go that way. I'm gonna go that way. So, with that, thanks for listening, everyone. Peace out.
Bye.